Welcome back, dear students. Now let's discuss with the new technique, that is paper chromatography. As per name, specialized paper is used in this technique, and that's why it is called as paper chromatography. Paper chromatography belongs to one of the simplest technique in chemical separation. As it runs on a piece of specialized paper such as cellulose filter paper. It is a type of planar chromatographic system, because here simple paper is used, so it's not a three-dimensional technique, it is a planar chromatographic technique. And as I told you, cellulose filter paper is used as a stationary phase. In TLC, silica gel, which is coated on the surface of glass plate, it is used as a stationary phase. But here, cellulose filter paper is used as a stationary phase. Now, what are the principles of paper chromatography? The principle involved in paper chromatography is the distribution or partitioning of chemicals between two liquid phases. Now you can ask that how are two liquids here? Because here we are using paper and mobile phase as a solvent, but still it is called as distribution or partitioning of chemicals between two liquid phases, because the one phase is the water, which is held in small pores of filter paper, and here that water is considered as a stationary phase. Not paper is considered as a stationary phase, but the water which is absorbed in the, or which is held in the small pores of the filter paper is considered as a stationary phase, and solvent is a mobile phase. So here both stationary phase and mobile phase both are liquids, and that's why it is called as, it is a partitioned chromatography between two liquid phases. Here paper chromatography also uses the principle of adsorption chromatography between solid and liquid phase, where stationary phase is the solid surface of paper and liquid phase is a mobile phase. But most of the application of paper chromatography work on the principle of partition chromatography, that is partitioned between two liquid phases. So here we can say that paper chromatography, it is the example of partitioned chromatography. At the same time, it is the example of adsorption chromatography. Because in paper chromatography, paper which is a solid, it can also be used as a stationary phase, and there is a mobile liquid. So it is the adsorption chromatography, but at the same time, it is believed that not only paper it acts as a stationary phase, but the water which is absorbed or which is held in the pores of the paper, it acts as a stationary phase, and there is a mobile solvent. So it is the partition between two liquids. Now what is the methodology? This is the diagram for the paper chromatography. Now the steps involved in paper chromatography are, first step is selection of suitable filter paper. which can act as a stationary phase. Now filter paper is selected on the basis of pore size, quality of the sample to be separated, and also on the mode of the development, whether we are using iodine chamber or some staining reagent. Based on that, suitable paper is used. Second step is preparation of sample. Preparation of sample involves the dissolution of sample in suitable solvent. The solvent which is used, it should be inert so that sample cannot react with the solute cannot react with the solvent. So if we want to analyze this mixture should get dissolved in a proper solvent. Third step is the spotting of the sample on paper. Samples are spotted at the base position on the paper by using the capillary tubes. The process is same as we do it in thin layer chromatography. So the spots are given at the baseline. Once the spotting is done, then there is a development of chromatogram. Now the sample spotted paper is kept for the development, and for this paper is attached to some rod, and it is not like TLC. In TLC we keep the plate directly in the mobile solvent, but here the paper is kept on the upper side and it is dipped in the mobile phase. You can see here it is dipped in such a way that the baseline where spots are given should be above the mobile phase. ये मोबाइल फेज में डिप नहीं होना चाहिए. स्पॉट्स जो है वो मोबाइल फेज के ऊपर रहना चाहिए ना. और यहाँ पे ये पेपर जो है वो ऊपर होल्ड किया है और फिर उसको ऐसे मोबाइल फेज में डिप किया है. Once this mobile phase start running, it takes with itself the mixture. Once the mixture is running and the spots start running, once the development is done, then the paper is held carefully at the border, so to avoid touching the sample spot, and then drying using an air dryer. If the spots are colored and visible, then there is no need to use any detecting solvent. Otherwise, sometimes ninhydrin is sprayed or the paper is exposed to ultraviolet radiation for the spot identification. So in this way, paper chromatography technique is this is the methodology for the paper chromatography. Now, what are the advantages and application of paper chromatography? It is specifically used for the separation of mixture having polar and non-polar compounds. If the mixture is having some polar and non-polar, then this technique is used. It is used for the separation of amino acids from each other. Paper chromatographic technique is used to determine organic compounds, biochemicals in samples such as urine. It is also used for the determination of hormones and drugs, and sometimes it is used for the evolution of inorganic compounds like salts and complexes. So thank you.